Okay, guys, so today we'll be doing the OX15 API task. And this is a interesting task. It talks about you fetching data from an API which returns a JSON string, and then probably putting the JSON string into a list and then using the JSON data that you get from that API call. Most times when we do this API, we fetch them from a link, and that link is called an endpoint. Okay, so we'll notice that in this first task, we're given this REST API to use, and this REST API gives us a link to different endpoints that we can fetch data from. So when we fetch this data, we can then use them, extract what we need from them. So if we look at this one, this is an endpoint over here, right? And when you run the script, it gives us a simple JSON data, okay, that extracts the user ID, blah blah blah, this and that. Okay, so this endpoint, right? We have, and if you scroll down, you see that we have so many endpoints as well. It comes with six common results, right? Comes with a set of six common results. So we have slash post slash comment. So let's say we have slash to dos, right, which has 200 to dos. Okay, which means probably for each there's a 20 to-do list. Okay, let's see. We have to-dos. So if we copy this guy, or let me just copy this guy up to this point, right? So control copy, and then I will call it here. Okay, and add that to-dos. So normally it's going to go to the internet and fetch the to-dos for us, and you see that it fetched a JSON string for us, right? So this is a JSON data, a list of this is the callback 200 lists, right? Though when it get returned, it returns as a string, so it's like a string of lists. So I'm still scrolling. Yeah, this is the top. So we have this guy, right? And then we have the user ID one. So we can see that user one now, as this is user one, user one, user one. He has so many tasks, and he has completed some and hasn't completed some. So completed false, false, false. He has completed this one. So we can get the number of the completed for user one. We can get number of completed for user two. These are still user one, user two, probably 20 data, user 3 as well, and so on to user 10. So this data is what we get, and then we format it so that we can use whatever we are getting from that API call. So those are endpoints. So we could have slash let's say, which one is short, users here. So to get each user details, so if I call that command now and use users, right? So we are supposed to get 10 users. As you can see here, we have user 1, user 2, user 3. Can you see? User 1. So we can extract all the usernames. Like say, okay, what are the usernames? You can write a script or a program that would get us based on an API call. It's as simple as that. Okay. So let's go to the task. So the first thing is to create the directory, which I think I have done here. So we would cd into our ALX system, right, and we'll create this directory, but OX15. So you make directory, cd into that directory, and list it. I have my readme here, and if I cut my readme, only have OX15 inside it. So the next thing I want to do is I want to create this file, right? So I'll copy this file and vi the file and start. So shebang user binary python 3, and then I'll document. Okay, so let me just give it this we want to gather data from an API. Okay, so gather data from an API. So It says that write a Python script using this API, which I opened here, for a given employee ID. Okay, we want to get the employee ID. Return information about his or her to-do list progress. Okay, so we want to get based on the employee ID. We want to they would like will be given an employee's ID and want to see the to-do list, like information about their to-do list, if they've completed it or not. Okay, so the next thing is we have to use URL leap or request. If you look at, I think um Python network 1 or 0, we use URL leap. Okay, so I'm not sure I've posted the video yet, but if I haven't, I plan on making them, so you can check it if I've done it by the time you're watching this video. So for this, because we haven't used request before, I'll be using request, and request is much more easier than URL leap. I enjoy request because it's as simple as ABC. All right, so what we'll do next is, so if you want to know about URL leap, you can watch the Python video, Python network 1 or 0, one of the two. Okay, I think 1, I think 1, 0 should be simple and 1 should be that. So your script must accept an integer as a parameter, which is the employee ID. So anyway, so the first thing I will do is, let me just use it as a function. Let me create a function and I'll call the function, and the function would accept our ig or blah blah blah. So the first thing I want to import is the request that I'm going to be using. So you use request. Remember, it has s, not just request. Okay, the request module. And one thing ALX told us is that for this task is that the importation should be alphabetically. So let's just continue. So I'm going to import what else? Ag sys agv s rsr comes before s, so we are good. So I can say import sys and use sys.agv, or from sys import agv. Okay, so these are the modules to work with. So I'll leave 2 space and then I'll go to my, so I'll define a function. Okay, so the function, I'm going to give it a function. Let me hold on. So I want to get the employee to do's progress, right? So I'll call it get employee to do's process or progress. Why is this thing rolling? And it's going to accept an argument, right, which is the employee ID. So when that, I'm going to document as well a function to return the info about the employee to do's progress, right? I hope I've not passed my limits. Okay, good. So the next thing we'll do is I will use my try and exception try. Okay, so the first thing, I would pass that URL which we're told to use into this guy because it's too long, so I want it to be short. So let me copy the URL. Let me go, or is it still on my, it's not there. Oh, let me do it. I want to undo this stuff that I pasted. Okay, good. So it's going to be in a string. So I'll come here and look for the URL. This is it. Then I'll copy up to this point because I might be changing the to-dos depending. You can test them out and change them when you need. So .com, I think this is okay. So this is a short URL. So the next thing is I want to get the user I want to get the user information, right? In order to get the um what we will need here. I think the scripts must display on the standard output the employee to do list. First line employee, so it's going to display employee name. To get employee name, we need to use, if you look at this and I do this call, where is it? Yes. Is it users? Yes. So if I say users, um, or I say users slash, let's say user ID 1. Okay, so I get information for user ID 1. Okay, so now if I need to get the employee's name, the name, I'll just use for I can just do user dot name or user and then in bracket name. So or when I get there, so once I call this guy, right, so this guy would be a list kind of, so I'll just use the user and then open brackets, then name, put the key inside to get the person's name. So that's what I want to do. So let's be back. So let me come, yeah, tap, good. So that's the URL. So I want to do a user call now. So user call response, user, let's just say user the datas of, there's nothing like datas is data, but let me just call it datas. Okay, so I will do a request get requests. So this comes with a request model, request dot get. Okay, to get, to fetch, like that fetch that we used there. Then I would say I want to fetch that URL. So URL, and remember I'm not done. I want to add user slash and then the username, right? But now we don't know the username, the user ID, right? But the user ID will be passed here, so we'll use that. So I can use plus let's say f string. I like f string because it's faster than string format. Then f string, then what's it called? Then I would say we have slash here already, right? So I'll just say users slash this place is a placeholder for whatever ID we give. So employee underscore ID. Okay, so this place would fetch that. All those data will now be saved in user data, those data that you would have inside that place, right? So it will now be inside user data. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So now that data has been there, so the data is returned as a string, so we need to make it as a JSON file. Okay, as a JSON list. So we just say the user data is now, or let me just use the right word, data is now equals to is now equals to the user datas dot JSON. So convert it to JSON. So that's what we do there. Okay, so the next thing is we want to get the employee's name, because that's the first thing we need here. We need employee's name. That's what we want to extract. Then we can just print employee and then put that guy here. So the next thing is employee's name. So I'll say employee underscore name will now be equals to, since this guy is in a, let me put it so you can see, it's in two different is this dictionary, yeah, two dictionaries. Then we say sorry for that. Okay, then I would say using user data now at look for where we have name, and that would hold our employee's name. Then we go to the next thing, right? So we've saved our employee's name. So now we'll fetch the to-dos list for that employee. Okay, so fetch to-dos list for the employee. So to fetch the to-dos list for the employee, would use, so let's say we come here, let me clear the screen, and instead of this I will say to-dos. We could say to-dos, let's say to-dos 1. I'm not sure, let's see if this one will work. To-dos 1 just fetch this little information. So the right way we're going to pass that guy is to-dos. Instead of 1, we'll say to-dos. Okay, so after to-dos we'll put question mark, and then user. Okay, we'll say the user ID, based on user ID, then is equals to, let's say, 1. So you can see that we get more information about it compared to the previous one that we just got one thing. Okay, so now this one just gave us 1, but this one is giving us all based on user ID. Okay, this one is just giving us 1 out of the to-dos. Okay, so this command is saying that based on user ID, let us use 1, and that's what I used is somewhere here. I think this guy, based on post ID, which is 1. Okay, that's where you get that from. All right, so let's continue. So let me go back into my this, and I would say, okay, so we want to fetch the user information, and there's something we want to do in to-dos. If we check very well, we have employee username is done with, okay, number of done tasks, total number of tasks. So we have to check. Let me go back and let you see it. Okay, so we have, okay, good. So we have completed, right? These are the true are the done tasks. These are the overall are the undone tasks. Okay, so if we look through this list, we'll get all the total tasks. To see the done task, we'll check the completed if it is true, and if it is, then we'll subtract this from the total number, then we can get the one that is left. Okay, so I think that's fine. Let me see if my audio is still recording. Praise God, it is. All right, so let me go back. Yeah, so good. So what else do we need? So go back into this, and then we want to get this data. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is I'll say my to-dos list is equals to, then I'll fetch that API again, then request dot get, that's the request, and then the URL plus, we need f string as well. I think f strings, because we will need the user ID. So we'll say to-dos question based on user ID equals to, right, and then we'll pass in the placeholder for the employee ID given that's been passed at this beginning. Okay, so we'll pass that down, and then use to-dos list will now save those requests that we have now. Then I need to still make it a JSON, right? And then I'll say to do or JSON to-do list, the JSON to-do list is equals to to-dos underscore list dot JSON close bracket. Good. So now that we have this one, the next thing we want to do is we want to check which task is completed by looping through, checking everything here, right? So what we'll do is I would say the total task is equals to then we get the length of JSON to dos list. That will return an integer. Okay, so we'll get that length. Fine. Now that we've gotten the length, the next thing we need to do now is we need to check for the one that was successful, right? That's the completed. So we'll know number of done tasks. Okay, so we need to know the task that has been done. So to get the number of tasks done, I'll say total tasks done, right? So we get the number of tasks done. So the number of tasks done, we'll now say let's say task, or let me put it in a list. We'll say the task for task in JSON. So because JSON to dos list has every list, right? So we want to iterate for anyone that the completed is true. If the task, right? If the task at index, like we are trying to get the value. If I just say if task completed, that is if it is true. Completed, right? I think it's completed. If this guy is true, then that data would be saved in task done. Okay, so we'll have all the task done data here as a list. So we need to get the length of that one too. So we'll say the task done. Okay, say, or let me put number of tasks done. Number of tasks done will then be length of tasks done. I hope you understand. If you have any questions so far, let me know. Okay, so we'll add that, and then so we need to now display the result. Okay, it's as simple as that. So we then display the results. Okay, so now that we want to display the results, what we do is we print. Okay, so I'll use f string because that is simpler to represent. So the first thing is employee. I think this is just what we want to. Let me just copy it. There's no copy. Maybe new copy. Yeah, good. So employee, this employee's name now would replace it with. We have the employee's name already. Employee, and then employee's name is yes, this guy over here, employee name. So I'll put here employee underscore name would have been gotten from this guy is done with. So for this part, what I would do is I would because it's too long, so I want to shorten it. Employee name is done with the tasks, right? And then I would close this one here, continue printing. So I'll say f string. Okay, so this number of tasks done, so I would say number of tasks done, total number of tasks. Right, so number of tasks done. So this one will just be no tasks done. Total number will be total task. Total underscore task. Yes. So we'll have that, and I think that should be that. And yes, I think we're complete. So once we're done with this, then we say let me see. Who's shouting out? So I think that will print this employee this. Okay, so once we stop here, we need to now print this guy over here. So this one will just print this guy. So we need to print this. And what is that? Employee name. The second and end next line display the title of the completed task with one tabulation and one space before the task title. So the title of the completed task. So how do I do this? I'll come down. What's going on? So we want to print the title of completed task. So I'll just do like this. Title of and we'll get that one from the task that we have looked through. So for that one, I will say for task in so this task done is a list of the completed one. So we need the title for that. So task done, right? So for task in task done, then I would put indentation here, and then I would print out first. There's a tab, right? So I'll print let's say f string as well. I'll print a tab, right? And then there's a space, and then the task title for each one. So it's a loop that would run after this one prints, then a loop will print all the successful ones. Okay, then we'd say the title will now be task open bracket. What title is it? So we'll say task yes, I think tax, and then we'll open this bracket and title. I think that's it. That should be it. So I'm not sure if it is called title, so you can check as well. Let me exit it and scroll all down. Yeah, it's called title. So we'll get all this, guys. So yes, so title, and that will print everything that we need. And then I think I'm good. I'm trying to see if I have any errors there. All right, good. So the next thing I'm going to do is after my try, we'll have an exception. So I'll say except exception, because we don't know what we might get as e. Okay, we should print f string as well, and I'll say an error occurred, and then I'll put that error message, which is e, there, and that will be that. So after that, we need to run the script. So I'll put two spaces, one, two. Then let me go to the next one. So if the name is equals to one, let me use 2, is equals to name, then we want to execute it. So we can just execute it, or we can just add this one. This one is not really necessary. I'm just adding it. Okay, so we can just say if length of argv, right, system argv. So we check the length is not equals to 2, because it has to be 2. Then we should just print that the usage is script and employee ID. So I'll put these ones, sorry, in quotes as string. Good. So end. Where's the end? Good. If not, then we'll call the else. We'll call the function, which is get employee to do's progress. Then agree at index 1. Okay, at index 0 will be the script's name. So we check flick 8 0 to see if we have any syntax error. Probably at that long part where I shrinked the command, we might have an error there. Why is this guy taking time? Though continuation line over indented. Yeah, I knew it's gonna happen there. 2717. Though my internet has disconnected, so probably I'll be reconnecting later. VI 0. Is it 27, right? 27. Yes, I knew this place. Did I get over indented or under? Over indented. So let's try this. So it's worked now. Good. So ch mode 7550. Good. So we have this. So I can run the script and pass in an ID 1. But if I do this, it's going to try and fetch the API, and if I don't have internet access, it won't work. Okay, so I need to have internet access. That's why I need to connect now. You know, the real deal, this guy disconnects and reconnects. So let me just disconnect. Let me disconnect and reconnect so we can test our script. Okay, can you be fast? Can connect on time? Still waiting for it to connect. So basically that's it. So we are going to run it, and we're supposed to have this kind of request based on this. So we try 2, right? Okay, I tried 1. Let me try 2. It's connected. Okay, I think it's connected. So let me try 2. And we are supposed to have this distincto, like according to this. Okay, according to this. So we're supposed to have this. So the next one would be while that is still loading, using what we did in tag 0. Okay, no module named request. Okay, maybe I didn't type the request very well. Request. Yes, request. Okay, I haven't installed request. So the first thing we need to do is install request. I haven't installed it. So sorry about that. Let's scroll down. Where is it? I think there's somewhere. It's not here. Anyway, let me do pip3 install requests. So let's install request. And so using what we did, extend your Python script to export data in the CSV format. So we are still going to use this script. So we're just going to make the data gotten exported as a CSV file, which is comma separated value. Okay, so we import CSV, which comes with Python, and then we do our stuff. So this guy is taking our time. Maybe I should just add it and see if it's gonna work here without testing it. But I would have loved to test it and make you guys see the output. But it's taking my time. Or maybe I should hold on a bit. Maybe I should hold on a bit. So if it doesn't work now, let me just stop it. I'm pressing Ctrl C. Yeah. So why is it not working? PIP install request or PIP? Let me just try PIP alone. I don't know what's wrong, but hopefully this is it. Okay, it's just coughing. Anyway, I don't know why it's not working. So let me call a particular guy to see if my internet is working. Right. So instead of just saying to do one, that is one to do. So I don't want too many data. So it's working. So I don't know why it's not installing request. Anyways, git add the everything, git commit, first task, did we commit well? Yes, git push. So we git push it to C, but I don't know why request is not installing. Or let me just do Python Python 3 import requests. So if we get an error, it means request is not installed. So that's why it's not working, our script. Okay, so I'm trying to install request, it's not working as well. So let me just check if this guy would work. So while that is what going on, let me copy 0. Okay, I need to know if it works before I even copy it. Okay, it worked. So we are correct. We are supposed to get that stuff if request was installed. So the next thing is going to be copy 0 to this. So we have it now. So if I vi my one, we have the next guy. Okay, so for this one, are we still using command line? Yes. We're still going to use command line, so everything is there. So we just have to import CSV. So I'm going to import CSV. Okay, it's comma separated values, and I'll come up to this place. Let me see. After printing, let's go. Where is it? Where am I? Is this thing frozen? My system is hanging. I'm not pressing it, it's just going on its own though. as you can see. Okay, I want to come to this point. From this point, after it has printed everything, so it's still going to print everything using what you did in extend your Python script to export data in the CSV format. Record all tasks that are owned by the employee into this place. It's going to record all this data, the user ID, username. We have gotten user ID because that's what we passed. We record the username, the task completed status, and the task title, and then into this file CSV. Okay, so that's what we need to do. So this thing is still playing with my intelligence. Let me quit it and open it back. And it's quitting. Why is it quitting? You don't want to work? You have to work. So would come after the except. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. So I'll come down and leave that. So good. So now let us work. So the first thing is we want to export the data to CSV. So I'll do this one. Export data to CSV. Right? Good. So we want to export data to CSV. So what is the CSV file name? So CSV file name is what? User ID dot CSV. So what is our user ID? It will be passed. So it's going to be F string. F string. And then we say employee ID, right? And then out of this place dot CSV. So I think it should be like this: employee underscore ID dot CSV. So exit that place, and then the next thing is would open the file with open, and then the file name, which is CSV file name, comma, and we want to what? Write into it. So I'll say the mode is equals to write. Do we need a new line? No. So I'll say new line is equals to empty quote. So just open the quote, then close it. Then space as let's say CSV file. Okay, and that will be that. So for CSV we have a reader and writer function. So we say writer, which will be the one to write. We say writer equals to, then we call that function CSV dot write. I want to write CSV file. I want to write after it opens this file. I want to write the CSV file into it, right? CSV file. So CSV underscore file, right? And then I can say quoting, because if you notice that everything is being quoted here, and CSV file will not quote like that. So we'll say quoting is equals to CSV dot quote all. So this one comes with CSV. Okay, CSV dot quote all. So now we are not yet writing into it. We just assign I was going to pass in, open that file and put some data into it. So now we want to write into it. So say for task, okay, in JSON to do's list. Who's that? Okay, so for tags in JSON to-dos list, so we look at JSON to-dos list. This is our to-dos list, right? So the tags for tags in to-dos list, that is, we are iterating through the to-dos list. Okay, so we'll say writer dot write. So now we want to write. We write it right. So we use that writer dot write now, which is this writer. Okay, so this one is ready to write. So we use that to write writer dot write now, and then we'd say uh, we want to write the um, what do we want to write? The user ID, right? So a list. We want to add the user ID is employee ID, employee underscore ID, which is this user ID, and then username. Okay, so employee name is not the username, it's the normal name. So we change this guy that okay, fetch us the username. This thing is running too fast. I've come down, it's not coming down yet. Why is this slow? So username. So employee name is now passing the username. So there's difference between both of them. So we get the username, not the normal name. So I would say comma employee name, employee underscore name, right? So we'll have the employee name there, and then the next one will now be task status. To get the status, we just say task at index completed, right? We'll pass the completed key into it to give us the value of completed. So if it is true or false, so we'll get that. And then what else? Tax title, right? And then tax title, then I'll come out here, comma, and then tax title, then I'll say that will be, what's it called, task at title, right? Then pass the title key into it and close that place, and I think we're done. So this is what we'll do, and then I think that's all. That's basically all. So I think this is, so export to CSV. This is all we do. So let me just go through it one more time what I did. But this place, I think it's too long. It's too long. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check. Let me check if it's long or not. This guy is long, so I'm going to check if it's long or not. Ninety-six is too long, so I need to cut down this guy. But my shell is hanging. Let me quit it. I've write and quit, but it's still loading. So I don't know why my shell has to be loading like this. So I need to check what is going on to see if it's correct. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to I'm waiting for it to load. So let us VI into this, and check this. Sorry, someone distracted me. I have to just, let's see. So I'll be right back. I want to, why is this thing hanging? I don't know if I have to just stop it and just continue later. I've quit it again. I'm waiting for it to quit, or maybe I need to quit it. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why that is hanging. I don't know why the file is hanging. Maybe I need to be using Emacs now. Okay, so like it's still sounding like for real. Yeah, that place is just too long. I think that's just the problem we have now. But my system is still hanging, still traumatized from going up and down. It's still shouting, and I'm not pressing anything. So let me go into it again and see if I can sort it out. Okay, I think it's back to life a bit now. So I'll come to this place, and after completed, comma, let me put this one in the next place. This place itself is too long. Yep, after completed or after name. Hey, this thing, why are you doing this way? I think I need serious prayer after before doing a video like this. Anyway, let's try this. Continuation line under indented. Okay, I knew it's going to be under, so let me just put it back here. Good. Let's retest. Under indented. Continuation line. Under indented. Do you mean we need to do like this? Under indented. Okay, maybe it's under indented, so we need to come in. 1, 2, 1, 2. Under indented 3919. 3919 under. Then put one more space. So we'll keep putting one more space still. Till you're correct. Okay. So let's put one more space. What's wrong? Under indented. Why is everything under indented? Okay, I know what to do. Okay, it's supposed to be here and one space. Let me see. It's working now. Good. Okay, so we don't have requests installed yet, so I'll just git add it. So we're supposed to be able to run it, and let me see, pip install requests. Let's see if it works. Anyway, my waste our time. I'm so sorry that I can't test it for you guys. I could not find a version that satisfied the requirement for version. Not much in description found for requests. how do we then install requests? Let me try pick 3. Let's try. Why is this thing hanging and shouting and screaming? I might need to pause the video because my battery is running low and I need to continue later when I'm done with this. So PI how to install Python module requests. So while that is loading, let me git add it. So I'll push that and let me check for this. I think my network has disconnected. We're still writing connected, but it might have still disconnected. I told you guys, my network has disconnected. Let me just disconnect it myself. There's no internet. Could just be a network. I'm tired of this network. So let's push again. And let me reload this. So this one has worked. Let me check the code if it's correct. Do we have any way to install Rest here? Okay, I think there's it's not here. Anyway, let's check this code to see if it's correct. While that is loading and this is loading, let me retry the PIP3 install request. Maybe it's my network that I didn't make it. And this one is loading. Okay, you haven't seen it or what? Oh, tax 1 is what I'm supposed to check for, not tax 2. Python. Okay, so let's try this. Because it's for Python. Oh, I think Python 3, not just Python. Yeah, because we're using Python 3. So let me just come here and say let's try this and see if it's will install. And this one checked up to the last one. And what's the last one? Correct number of tags in CSV, correct output remaining for formatting. So the CSV is not accurate. That's why we need to test. Anyway, let us check. That's why this thing needs to install. So this one is loading now. So we'll be able to test our file to see that it's working. My battery is running low and my system is hanging. So anyway, once it's installed, we'll be able to test it and see what's wrong. For this one, I think it's just my code, probably a loop. I didn't indent it well. Okay, so That's majorly what's always wrong with it. So I think this one is done. It's starting, and then let me close it. So now we can execute the first one and put two in front, and hopefully it definitely should, because it worked, right? So the first one we can test it, and we should get something like this to this point, right? So the second one, which is this, uh, since we executed the first one, okay, the second one would now be, um, let's execute one and let's put two in front as well. So it's still going to print to the output, but the format of what will be in our CSV file will now be different, right? It printed it, right? Wait. So there's an error called CSV writer object has no attribute right now. Okay. So we have the if I cut my tools.csv, it's empty. Okay, created, but it didn't work. So um, let me see what happened. So so we opened our CSV file here, right? With open CSV file name writer equals to CSV, and then for tags in JSON code, and then writer.write now. So what's wrong here? Export the data to CSV. So we have the CSV file name. Yes. CSV file name mode. Yes. Sorry for that. So writer equals to CSV to writer CSV file, and then the quoting, and then for tags in JSON to dos. Did I miss this JSON to dos list? Yes. Writer.write now. Employee. Right now, not right now. Right row. Sorry, it's supposed to be right row. Okay. I was looking what's wrong. So let us re-execute that guy. Yes. No. Yes. So it's working now, and if I ls and cut my two CSV, so you see that we have all the data we need. So let me just hit add. So push that, and we'll check our code. So it should be right. So the next one would be task 3 or task 2, which is third task. Let's see. First, so it worked, right? So the next one, export to JSON. Almost the same, right? From tag 0 as well. So we'll just copy 0, paste it inside this, and then vid 2. Did you just open 2? Okay, we have 2 exports now. 2x, we have 2 CSV, so that's why. So so I'll need to import JSON, right? So import JSON. So, and then still yet we don't need name, so we need username. So I'll change this one to username. So I'll change this one to why is this thing taking time to load? Username, fetch the to-do list for the employee. So let's see, I think we've done this. So using what we did, extend your Python script to export data in JSON, just like we did for CSV. I'll do the same for JSON. So we'll change the username in CSV as well. And what else do we change? Or what else are we changing? Let's see. So we have the total task and everything displaying. Then we printed everything. So let's prepare data for JSON export. So I think we are done to this point, and then why is it not working? JSON export. So we just add JSON export there. So we have the JSON file name as well, right? So for JSON export, but for this, what I'm going to do is we'll first, because it's the same, almost the same thing, we want to get based on task and it's in the to-do list. So we'll get the tasks. Say let me say we'll create a list. So I'll say tasks is equals to, then I'll create a list. Okay, and then inside that list we'll create a dictionary. Good. So leave the indentation that way. All right, so inside the indentation we have, we have the user ID first, and then we have task title completed up to this point. This is the major thing that we have, but this is the one that is repeating, that we need to repeat. The user ID will be one permanent one, and then these ones will be repeating for each task. Okay, so first we'll create something like this, which is this and task, right? So I can just copy that, or let me just type it out. So I'll say this is user, that place, no, we don't need it to be task, so not user, task, and then the tax title. To get the tax title is the tax and title. So say tax, this title, right, and close that comma, right, and then we'll have after tax we'll have completed, to see if it is true or false. Completed, I hope I get it, completed. Good. And we'll say tax and completed as well, to see what if it is completed, comma. The next one will be completed task, completed username, and we have that already. So username is going to be employee name, right? So I'll just put username, employee name. So we still have username, which should be what, employee underscore name, and then I think that's all. And then we have a comma and then task and all that. So I think that's it. So we've created that, and what else are we going to do? So I'll come here, I've created a task. So I'll create a new JSON data, because we want to have the new JSON data, right? And it has to be in strings. So I would the employee ID is in number, so I'll convert it to string, which is for this place. So we'll have this user ID. So I'll say, yeah, so I think there's a space there. No, I'm not sure. So string, and that place is user ID. So I'll just say, which is employee ID, employee underscore ID. Okay, so I'll create that employee ID. After creating the employee ID, would new JSON data, employee ID, and then we have a column here, and then the tasks will be here, right? So tasks will be here, and then we'll close the curly braces. Good. So we're just trying to build a skeleton for what will be in our JSON. So we've created that, this new JSON data, how it's going to look like. We just need to fill in what this guy will be and fill in what this guy will be. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we want to export data to a JSON file. Or yeah, this one is JSON construction. Or JSON blocks. So this is the exporting data. My battery is getting low. So this is the exporting data. Okay, I think my battery is low. I need to quickly. Okay, guys. So back to where we were before the battery went almost dead. So let me go up. Is this thing working? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create this, but the thing is this is where the last one stops, right? So we created task, which would represent this task part, right? Would have user ID, and then we'll have tags. So the user ID is this one, and then we'll have these tags. So this tags would be this, okay? And this tags has to repeat. That's why we put it inside this, so that we can stack everything inside. So now tags would have tags and tags title, completed and completed, the value, the username, and what the username is, right? And then it's getting that data from a loop from our to-do list. Okay, so I would now say for this, and then I'll have another for loop here. Okay, so I'll say for task in JSON, where is it, JSON to do's, I think JSON to do's list. Yes, so what I'm doing is I'm using this guy, right? And I'm saying this guy is now here, and I'm saying this this list for task in this. Okay, so it's a, I think, Python expression or something, right? That's what it is called. So it is looping through what is inside to-do's list, and then inserting those things inside this guy, and it's saving in tags. So we'll have it saved here. Okay, so after we're done with that, then we would have export data. Okay, I'm exporting data. I think this is where we stopped before, so I didn't add that before. So we'll then export our data. How do we export the data? So now that we've saved this guy and we've say new JSON data would be inside this, right? So we need to export the data. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll say JSON file name. So we'll create a file name for the JSON file, and it is what, user id.json. So I'll use the f string as well, f string, and say user id. The user id is employee id, right? Employee underscore id, and then we have dot json. Okay, so this will be file name, and then we'll open the file. So with open, and the file name is what, json file name, comma, the mode is to write, we're writing into it, right? And then I would come here and say as json file, and that's that. So the next thing is we use the json.dump. So this will convert the Python dictionary, which is this, into a JSON format or JSON string. So we'll say it is now, we'll collect the, sorry, I had to alert someone. So we'll say the JSON string, and we'll say where am I, JSON dump, and then I want to dump the new let me see, so the new JSON data, yes, this one is what I want to dump, the new JSON data. Okay, and then comma into our JSON file, dump it and indent with 4. Okay, so I think we're done with that. So once I do this, let me just give this one space, and I think there's enough space for this. Okay, so I think that's all for this. So let me run the script. It's 2, right? So 2, and let me pass 2 to it as well. And let's see, so it's supposed to print that item out for us, and also after printing we should have the JSON file now. Oh, we don't have the JSON file. W is not defined. Okay, so let us see. So it says W is not defined. Where is the W? Let me see the error very well. W is not defined. Let me see. So okay, I think the right mode is what is not defined here. So it has to be in quotes. Yeah. So let us redo that. So let us redo it. Okay, so let us ls. So we have our JSON. So let me clear my screen and cut to JSON. Well, okay, 2 dots. JSON, not this. So we have those files now. So let's scroll up to see if it starts with 2. So I think it's the same thing, right? It works well. So now let me git add it. Hey, git add. Let me just add everything. Git commit. To JSON, and then I'll push it. Yes, so let us test this. So now we'll go to the last one, which is this 3. For this one, it's based on tag 0, but it's kind of different because this one is not collecting any arguments, right? So using what you did in tag 0, extend your Python to export data in JSON format. Okay, so it's just going to export data in the sense that when you run it and you cut to-do list, right, you cut the file, you should have this. Okay, so Basically that will be it. So what I'm going to do now is I don't know if I should still use the previous one, or let's just use the previous one. Let me copy the file name. So this is going to be much more te- simple and tedious in the sense that it's going to be robust. As you can see that it's getting a lot of data into the file. So let me just copy this. Okay, so I didn't even know if this one worked. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, we have an error. Pico style. Okay, I think that's good. So I'll just do flick 8 flick 8 on 2. You can do Pico style 2 instead of flick 8, or you install the flick 8 and installed it. So it said closing braces does not match which one indent. Blank line contain white space. So 42 1. Let's first take care of 42 1. This 42, and then I think there's okay. I've taken care of that, and then the next one is what 42 1 and 38 21. Closing braces does not match 38 21. So let's go 38 21. Does not match indent. Was it too? What? Was it too small or too big? Does not match team. Okay, let's try it now. Good. Sorry. So push that and check the code again. So we'll cut or we'll copy 0 into 3. Do I still have it here? So that one has worked into 3. Good. So then we'll VI 3. So now for this one, it says that using what you did in Taxo, extend your Python script to export data in JSON format, right? So we'll still need JSON. We still need to import JSON. But now we don't need syst_v, so we remove this. Okay, so it means for this one we would remove this line as well, and this line. Okay, so the function name, this is to do progress. Write a script that exports data in JSON format. Record all the tags from all employees. So we want to record all tags from employees. So I can call this one get employee instead of to do progress. And just in tasks. Okay, and it's not going to collect any argument. So I would remove this. Okay. All info about employee to do, and just remove this. Yes, so we can still use try and accept. So now I would use this guy over here first, because it's like one endpoint, so I just need to concatenate any parts that I need into it. So that will be my URL. So let me create so now we have to get the user. So I'll say user, let's call this one user response. Okay, which is request.get URL plus user. So this time around we're not getting the employee ID because it's not needed, so we're just getting the user. So the f string is not needed as well, just a string. So we are getting the user. And what we'll do is, let me copy this guy over here. Okay, I've copied that. So if I call that part and do users, as you can see, I have all these users info, and that's what I need. I need the username, right? I will need tax title, so I will still need for to dos. What else do I need here? Username, the tax title, if it is completed status. I think that's it. So I think that one will be for to dos, right? So I'll do to dos. Okay, so to dos will have the user tax title, and then completed, and then I think that's all. So to those who have for all the records. So for user one now, we'll get the username from that, and then all the tax title for that person, would everything would be followed by user 2 up to user 10. I think that's what we do. So vi3, and since we have this user data, so we are the user response, we've gotten that to get the username and all that. Okay, so for the first person. So the next thing I will do is the user data will now be user response JSON, not just user data, since I've changed the variable name. Response. So the response gotten from user converted to JSON. Let me delete this for now because we don't need the name yet. So now all the employee data in a dictionary. Okay, so the employees data, this data, all it in a dictionary. Sorry. So now hold the employee data in dictionary. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll come here. So I'll say all employee, we'll put it in a dictionary, right? So all employee data is in the dictionary. Okay, then let me remove these guys, or let me leave it for now. And say, so we want to follow for user in, so we want to get each query from the users that we get. So which is now user data in user underscore data. Okay, for the user in user data. Okay, and then for each we want to get the employee ID. So employee, since we are not given the employee, we'll get the employee ID first. So the employee ID will now be what? The user at will pass in the key, and the key would be ID, right? So what I'm doing here is just let me come down. So we'll come here. Is it this? No, not this. I think that's far behind. Where is it? I requested for it just now. Yes, this one. So what we are doing is we are passing this guy to it, and then ID will give us the ID. So we pass user ID, right? Since we have the users, and then for user in users, that is for each guy, each of these in user, we should get the user ID. Okay, so that's what I'm doing there. And what else? I think that's fine. So the next thing is the employee's name. we get the employee's name. I think we need that as well. So the employee's username. Okay, so the employee name will now be equals to user. The name is, I think, username as well. Okay, so we'll do that, and username. So we've got a sorry. So we've gotten those ones, and I think we are good. So now we need to get the to-do list in order to get the remaining data. So get the to-do list. Okay, so we can call this one to do response, which will now be get this and the overall to do, not based on employee ID now. Yeah, so this one now be to do's, get to do's, or we could leave that and say, let me see, to do response will now be let me see, if we say to do's user ID, employee ID, if we get to do's based on employee ID, we should be able to get the to do for that particular employee. Okay, let me hold on and we'll test it out and see. So we'll still say, let's shorten this one to do list. So will now be to do response dot JSON. So yeah, we are getting the to do for a particular employee ID. So I think what would happen is there need to be a way to get employee ID for each person. So there needs to be a kind of loop. Let me see. Okay, so for that, since I think what we'll do is would put these guys inside this for loop. So because we are trying, yes, I think that's what we'll do. Come back here, come back here, come back here. So after we've gotten the ID and we've gotten the username, then we can fetch information for that ID and then format that information. So this to-do list is what we now need at each instance. Okay, so this one for each instance we'll need this guy. Okay, so that's what we do. So we are not done, so I would clear up this guy and let me delete this 3. Okay, good. So what I will do next is let me come inside. So we need that. So what we'll then do is we'll say we'll prepare the JSON data. Okay, so let me come down a bit and then we'll prepare the JSON. Let me put my phone on silent. So okay, I think it's on. Put this one on silent. So prepare JSON data. Oh, I'm safe. Good. So prepare JSON data. So what I'll do is I'll create this tax guy also for this one, right? So we'll have this guy and then we'll have tax which will be inside. Then I'll create what we did previously. So this time around we'll create this list, right? And then create dictionaries. I would want to format this right by just putting this and putting a space here and enter. Okay, good. So I can start here and say the first one is username. So we'll enter username, right? So we want to save each of those tags into this place for each of this loop running through the user data. Is it user data we're running through? Which one is much? Yeah, for each user data for each person. Then let's see. Okay, yeah, we can have another loop here. So for each person, so for each username, after it has initialized it, we can have loop to loop through these ones as well. So it's go one by one and then loop through all these ones. Okay, good. So we'll say username, and then we'll say the username is the employee name, right? And then we'll put comma, and then the next one is the task. Did that press delete instead of? I think I pressed the wrong thing. Okay, and then I would put after username, the next one is tasks. And how do we get a task? We would say the task is the tax. Okay, let's just say tax, and then title. Okay, I'll explain how we got the type task later on, and then we'll have completed, right? And then we'll have completed this task, and then completed. So this one will give us the status. Close it. We don't need a comma there, so I will then come out of this and say the follow up now. So we'll have for task in to-do list now. Okay, to-do list. Okay, so now we are saying that all this guy will now be an expression here. So we are saying this expression for task. So we are giving the item of task to this to access this. So everything will now loop through this to-do list for that person. So if you're at employee ID, which is one, is to enter here, initialize it for the first person, put it for this person, then we'll go for the next person, and then like that. So that's what we're gonna do. So after that, once we're done, we'll come down and I think we're done with this. The next thing is we should come out of that loop. Once we are done, yes, we'll come out of that loop, or we're not going to come out of that loop. We can save that into it. So we'll say all employee data that we created here, right? And we're going to use as if we want to, how we do for a dictionary where we have this is cost to. So if you have employee data at index, let's say there's a name value, so this is the key. So there's going to be a key for user ID, and this will be the value. Okay, so for employee ID, so I'll put employee ID. So if it doesn't have employee ID before, it's going to create it. Okay, so we'll say employee ID. So it's just going to be appending it to employee ID for that person, and then the employee ID I can convert it to string. I can convert it to string, but since it's going to be like this, since it's not a string itself, it's a variable, so I won't put it in quotes, and then I'll say it is it should be assigned what is inside tasks. Okay, So that's what I'm going to do. And yes, so each time after this for loop comes for the first person, it's going to assign everything for the first person into employee ID. Come for the second person and assign everything to employee ID at position 2 at that point. Okay, so we have position 1 and like that. So after that, we need to now export it into a JSON file. So this employee, all employee data, which is string, will be dumped into a JSON file. So after that, we'll come out of this loop and then we'll say the JSON file name would be what? To, let me just copy it and paste it. To do all employee JSON, copy it because this, yes, so it's a string. So copy that. After that, then we'll say with open, what's the file name? JSON file name. JSON file name, comma, mode is to write, and that should be in quotes, courtesy of the previous one. And then we'll say as JSON file, and then JSON dot dump, right? Dump, and then what do we want to dump? The data inside all employee data, and then or all employee, is it data? Yes, all employee data. And then comma into JSON underscore file, and then comma will indent for. So I'm just trying to see if I get all the variable names correctly. All employee let's see, all employee data. Okay, all employee tax, it's supposed to be tax, but anyway, it's still gonna work. So employee task, tax. So I think that's it. Record all tasks from employee. So completed. The status will be there if it is true or false. Okay, I think we're good. So let me exit this, but before I do that, I didn't call the function get employee task. So we'll call the function here, and the function will collect new arguments. Tasks, right? Now, so let me just go. Okay, good. So let us run flick 8 until and see. So we have so many I know undefined thing. I knew it. So undefined name, no tax done, vi3. We don't even need to print these guys, so I would delete it, delete it, delete it, delete. So we need to space one, wait, from here 1 2. Okay, I think it's good. So let us check now. Yeah, expected except final block. Oh, sorry, I deleted the except mistakenly. So let's go create it. So I think we're right here. So except exception as E, print, I could just add pass there, F string, and error occurred, and then E should be there. I think that's fine. And let us see. Blank line contain white space at 25.1 over a then and 44.9. 25.1, 44.9. So this place there's blank line. I think that's it. And then 44. Get employee. So what is wrong with this one? What does it say is wrong? Is it indentation? Over indented. Okay, I think we over indented it. True. So O, yes, it's supposed to be here. So yes, and delete that space. Good. So now let's try it. So it works now, and then let me execute the 3. So we are supposed to have a lot of, no, I think we just have a data created, which is to do all. So we have the to do all. So if we call the to do all, that's when we have all this data. And if I scroll, you see that we have for number 10, we have for number 9 and all. So good. So git add, let's just git add all, git commit. The last one. And let us push it and see if it works. So go down and check our code and see if it works. Okay, we have one error, so let's check. All tags output and assign as value to go. Okay, what does it say? All tags in output and assigned as value to the correct user IDs. Okay. Okay, so let us see. VI3. So let me see. So we created the module, and then we tried this, right? And then user data, user response or JSON. Good. So the all employees task or data, and then for user in user data, employee ID user data, user ID username, and then to do response, we requested for to do's based on the user ID, right? And then to do dots JSON, and then we have the task in the list, and then we have the username, the task title, completed task completed. Good. For tasks in to-do list. Good. So the all employee task, which is data here, string employee ID equals to task. Okay, so the JSON file to do all employees JSON, good, with open JSON file name mode, right, as JSON file, and JSON dump all employee data still, JSON file identical to 4. So what is now wrong with this? Let me try and see what's wrong. Let me cut the to-dos and see the data because it's not even looking plenty though. Because I know it used to be very much. We scroll as much as we can. Okay, good. So we have number one. Let me close this. So we have one, and then we have this and this. We have username breadth, tax, dilute, and then completed false, and then close, and then comma. Username breadth, tax. Um, Quit. I think everything works fine. What is now wrong? Why is it wrong? Let me see the error again. All user exists in outputs. Okay. All tags in output and assigned as values to the correct user's ID. Okay, maybe I should continue checking. Maybe I might see one error. Just maybe. That's number one. Where's number two? It's number three. Number two should be somewhere around. This number two. Number two, we have Anton T. And then let me go to number two here. Anton T. And the last one here is Ulam. True. Ulam Nobis. Is it? Yes. It's correct. Like everything looks correct. Two quoted. Quoted. Everything looks correct and fine. I wonder what is wrong here. I wonder what is wrong. And let me use pi code style. I know it's not pi code this time around. It's working. I wonder what is wrong. All employee data. Okay, we have all employee data. Yeah, it's correct. All employee data. Even if I change it to all employee tasks, it's the same thing. So even if it is all employee task, it's still going to be the same thing. I'm trying to see what I'm doing wrong. Trying to see. Let's see. All employee tasks. And then JSON file and indent is 4. I think as JSON file. Yep. To do all. I think all this is fine. Except probably this loop. Okay, I think one thing I missed. Yeah, it's there. It's not missed. ID, the username, the to-do response, the URL plus the F to-do response with JSON, the tags, the username, the employee name, the tax title, the task completed. Did I miss a spelling? Maybe I missed a spelling somewhere. Username is spelled well. Tasks, I think it's tasks. Okay, maybe this one. I think it is this one. Look at, we have task and it is task that I wrote. So this will make the output wrong. Okay, let's see. That won't even affect our output because it's just exporting it to file and that place is a string, so we won't definitely know. So that's the problem. And yeah, so if you have any question, let me know on the comment section and I'll see you in the next one.